The acrid smell of burning paper filled the air as I watched 22 years of dreams turn to ash in our backyard fire pit. My engineering diploma from MIT, summa cum laude, curled and blackened in the flames, while my father stood there, self-righteous satisfaction etched across his face. "There," he declared, poking the burning diploma with a stick. "Now you can focus on finding a husband like your sisters did." My mother nodded approvingly from the porch, her traditional values reinforced by each lick of flame. My 3 older sisters, all married to respectable men chosen by our parents, watched with a mixture of pity and vindication. They'd followed the path laid out for them. I dared to forge my own. I remained silent, my hand clutching the phone in my pocket that contained an email that would change everything. "Dear Ms. Olivia Martinez, we are pleased to confirm your position as lead developer at Nexus Technologies." Nothing to say. My father taunted, interpreting my silence as defeat. "Finally learning your place?" I smiled, the same smile that had gotten me through 4 years at MIT while my family tried to sabotage every step. "No, Papa. I'm just wondering how long it'll take you to realize what you've actually burned." A worthless piece of paper. He was working himself into one of his familiar rages. 4 years wasted. Do you know how many good matches you've missed? Your cousin Maria is already on her 2nd child. My mother stepped forward, playing her usual role of reasonable mediator, though her words were just as cutting. "Olivia, Mahija, we only want what's best for you. This engineering fantasy, it's not for women from our family. Your sisters all understand this." Yes, my sisters understood. Alina, the oldest, had married her high school sweetheart, chosen by our parents, right after graduation. She now managed our father's accounting firm's books, the only job he believed suitable for a woman. Isabella followed 2 years later, marrying a family friend who worked for our father. And Sophia, just last year, had married another businessman from our father's circle. All of them had followed the script. Graduate high school, marry young, work in family-approved positions, have children. I was the black sheep who dared to dream of Silicon Valley. "The diploma doesn't matter," I said finally, watching the last corner curl into ash. "It was just paper." "Good," my father nodded, missing my meaning entirely. "Tomorrow we'll discuss the candidates I selected." "I won't be here tomorrow." The words fell like bombs in our traditional Hispanic household. My mother crossed herself. My sisters gasped in perfect synchronization. "What did you say?" My father's voice dropped to that dangerous quiet I'd known since childhood. "I'm leaving tonight. My apartment in San Francisco is ready." "San Fran? You actually believe some company would hire you? A woman? In technology?" I pulled out my phone, opening the email I'd received that morning. Nexus Technologies. Lead developer position. Starting salary higher than what your firm makes in a year. He snatched the phone, reading with growing rage. Nexus Technologies was no small startup. They were one of Silicon Valley's rising stars, known for their revolutionary AI applications, and they just hired a 22-year-old Latino woman as their lead developer. "This is fake," he declared, throwing my phone into the same fire that had consumed my diploma. "No daughter of mine." "That's right." I cut him off, pulling out a second phone. I'd learned to keep backups years ago. "No daughter of yours would achieve this. That's why, as of tomorrow, I'm no longer your daughter." My mother began wailing, the dramatic scenes she perfected over years of family conflicts. My sisters watched wide-eyed, perhaps seeing for the first time what rebellion actually looked like. You walk out that door. My father's voice shook with rage. You're dead to this family. No money, no support, no name. I looked at the fire pit, where my phone and diploma had been reduced to ashes. You've already taken everything you could. Now watch what I build from these ashes. Olivia. Alina stepped forward, ever the peacemaker. Think about what you're doing. Papa's connections, his business network, his outdated technology, his refusal to adapt to modern solutions. How long before larger firms eat his market share? My father's face reddened. I'd hit a nerve. His firm had been losing clients to more technologically advanced competitors. You ungrateful. He started forward, but I was already walking to my car, the one I'd bought with my internship money, not his. Your firm is running WordPress from 2010. I called over my shoulder. Your security is a joke, and your clients are noticing. But don't worry, Papa. In a few years, when a bigger company absorbs your failing business, maybe they'll update your systems. I didn't tell him that Nexus Technologies had already approached me about their plans to expand into business software solutions, or that I had seen the preliminary list of acquisition targets they were considering. My mother's wails followed me to the car. My sisters watched from the porch, their faces mixing doubt with something that might have been envy. My father stood by his fire pit, probably wondering why his carefully maintained world was crumbling. Olivia, Sophia, my youngest older sister, ran to my car window. You can't just leave. Family is everything. I looked at my sister, 24, already married, already following the path our parents had laid out. No, Sophia. Family is supposed to support your dreams, not burn them. But where will you go? How will you survive without the family? I smiled, thinking of my fully furnished apartment in San Francisco, my six-figure salary, and the equity package that would make me a millionaire when Nexus went public. I'll do what I've always done, I replied. I'll write code, build systems, and create the future. And maybe, when Papa's firm is failing and he needs a technological miracle, he'll remember the daughter he threw away. The next morning, I walked into Nexus Technologies' gleaming headquarters, my new employee badge declaring me lead developer, AI Solutions. My team, 15 developers, all older than me, waited in the conference room. Ms. Martinez, my new assistant, Michael, handed me a coffee. The team is ready for your technical assessment of Project Oracle. Project Oracle, Nexus's ambitious plan to revolutionize business intelligence software. The same software that would eventually make traditional firms like my father's obsolete. Also, Michael added, Mr. Anderson wants to see you about the acquisition list. I nodded, opening my laptop, a new one, bought with my signing bonus. Send me the latest market analysis of small to medium-sized business solution providers in the Southwest region, including Martinez Business Solutions, he asked, referring to my father's firm. Especially them, I smiled. I have some insights into their technical vulnerabilities. The next 3 years would prove transformative. For me, for Nexus, and for my family's understanding of what a woman in tech could achieve. But that morning, sitting in my corner office overlooking San Francisco Bay, I simply opened my code editor and began writing the future. My phone buzzed. Alina, probably making one last attempt at reconciliation. I silenced it without looking. Family had burned their bridges. Now they could watch me build new ones, line by line of code. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't setting fire to someone else's dreams. It's rising from the ashes of your own burned ones and soaring higher than they ever imagined possible. 3 years passed in a blur of code, innovation, and exponential success. Project Oracle wasn't just successful, it revolutionized business intelligence software. Under my leadership, Nexus Technologies' valuation soared from $2 billion to $15 billion. I was reviewing acquisition targets when Michael rushed in, tablet in hand. "You need to see this," he said, pulling up a business news article. "Martinez Business Solutions faces bankruptcy," the headline screamed. I skimmed the article. Outdated systems, lost clients, security breaches. Everything I'd predicted. "Your father's trying to reach you," Michael added carefully. "He's called 16 times this morning." I leaned back in my chair, remembering the flames that had consumed my diploma. "Any other news?" "Yes, actually. The board approved your promotion. They're announcing it next week. You'll be the youngest CEO in Silicon Valley history." At 32, I'd done what my father claimed was impossible. Running my finger over the smooth surface of my desk, I made a decision. "Set up a meeting with Martinez Business Solutions. Don't mention my name. Use my executive title." Michael's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" "It's time to close some circles," I said. "And Michael, send them our standard NDAs. Make sure my father signs them personally." 2 days later, I watched through my office's one-way glass as my father entered our conference room. He looked older, defeated, his once proud posture now hunched with worry. Alina accompanied him, still running his books, still trying to save a sinking ship. I straightened my Armani suit and touched the MIT class ring I'd bought to replace the diploma he burned. Then I walked in. The shock on their faces was worth every second of the past 3 years. "Olivia?" Alina whispered. My father's face went through a kaleidoscope of emotions: shock, anger, disbelief, and finally, fear. "Ms. Martinez will be fine," I said, sitting at the head of the table. "I'm the executive director you've come to meet." "This is impossible." My father started to stand. "I won't be humiliated by—" "Sit down, Mr. Martinez." I cut him off, using the same tone he once used to crush my dreams. "You signed an NDA. Walking out now would constitute a breach of contract." Alina grabbed his arm, whispering urgently in Spanish. She'd always been the practical one. She knew their situation was desperate. "Now," I opened my laptop. "Let's discuss your company's technical difficulties." "We don't have difficulties," he blustered. "Some temporary setbacks. Your systems were breached 3 times this year." I interrupted, pulling up their security logs. "Client data was compromised. You're losing accounts daily. Your software is obsolete. Your infrastructure is crumbling. And your reputation." I smiled. "Well, let's just say the market has noticed." Alina leaned forward. "How do you have this information?" "The same way I knew 3 years ago this would happen. I understand technology, despite what some people once believed." My father's face darkened at the reminder. "If you've come to gloat, I've come to offer a solution." I slid contracts across the table. "Nexus Technologies is prepared to acquire Martinez Business Solutions." "Acquire?" he sputtered. "You mean buy us out? Your company is worth 1/10 of what it was 3 years ago. This offer is generous, more than generous. It includes retention of current employees, modernization of systems, and," I paused, "a condition that the Martinez name remains on the subsidiary." Alina was already reading the contract, her accountant's mind processing the numbers. I saw the moment she realized what was being offered. Salvation, wrapped in irony. "You want to buy Papa's company?" she asked. "After everything?" "Business is business," I replied. "Your client list is still valuable. Your market presence is salvageable. And with proper technological integration," I let them fill in the blanks. My father was reading the purchase price, his hands shaking slightly. It was more money than his company had ever been worth, a premium I'd insisted on, though the board thought I was crazy. "Why?" he finally asked. "Because 3 years ago, you burned my diploma and threw me out. Now I'm offering to save everything you built." I stood up. "You have 24 hours to decide. The market won't wait longer." As I reached the door, my father's voice stopped me. "The CEO. They're announcing a new CEO next week." "Yes," I turned back. "The youngest CEO in Silicon Valley history." I saw the realization dawn in Alina's eyes first. "Dios mío," she whispered. "It's you, isn't it?" I left them sitting there, staring at contracts that would put them under their disowned daughter's authority. Michael was waiting outside. "Your mother's in the lobby," he said. "With your sisters." Of course they were. News traveled fast in our community. "Send them to the executive dining room," I decided. "And Michael? Call Isabella's husband, the one who always wanted to head a cybersecurity division. Tell him I have a job offer." The conversation with my mother and sisters was both easier and harder than the one with my father. There were tears, recriminations, and finally, from Sophia at least, admiration. "You did it," she said, looking around at the empire I'd built. "You really did it." "No thanks to any of you," I replied, but without bitterness. Success was its own vindication. "Your father will never accept working for you," my mother predicted. "He doesn't have a choice. It's this or bankruptcy." I checked my watch. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a board meeting to prepare for." "Olivia," Isabella spoke up, "the family dinners, the holidays, are still yours to celebrate together. I have my own family now." I gestured around at the company I'd helped build. "But if you're ever ready to step into the future instead of clinging to the past, my door is open." The next day, exactly on deadline, Alina delivered the signed contracts. Our father hadn't come himself. His pride wouldn't allow it. He wanted me to ask. She hesitated. "If you did all this for revenge." I looked out my window at the San Francisco skyline. "No, Alina. I did it because I could. Because every time someone said I couldn't, I worked harder to prove them wrong. The fact that it saved the family business." I smiled. "Let's call that a bonus." "And the CEO announcement tomorrow? Tell Papa he can watch it live with everyone else, or he can come to the office and see his daughter make history." She nodded, turning to leave, then stopped. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry for not standing up for you back then." "I know," I said. "That's why you're going to run the Martinez subsidiary. Show our sisters it's never too late to rewrite your story." The next morning, as I prepared to accept my role as CEO, my assistant handed me a package. Inside was my burned MIT diploma, or what remained of it, in a frame. "Your father dropped it off," Michael said. He said, "You might want to hang it in your new office, as a reminder." I touched the charred edges, remembering the flames, the anger, the determination that had driven me here. "No," I decided, handing it back. "Send it to the company museum. Let it be a reminder to every young woman who's told she doesn't belong in tech." Sometimes, the best future rises from the ashes of burned dreams. Then I straightened my jacket and walked out to make history, not as my father's daughter, but as my own woman. The CEO announcement made global headlines. Latina tech prodigy becomes Silicon Valley's youngest CEO. The irony wasn't lost on anyone when Forbes featured me on their cover. The woman revolutionizing business tech. That same week, Martinez Business Solutions completed its transition into a Nexus technology subsidiary. I was reviewing integration reports when Sophia burst into my office, waving her phone. "Have you seen Papa's interview?" she demanded. I hadn't. I'd been too busy actually running the company to follow local business news. Michael quickly pulled up the video on my conference screen. There was my father, sitting in his old office, now modernized with Nexus Tech, speaking to a local business reporter. "Yes, my daughter." He paused, visibly struggling. "My daughter is the new CEO of Nexus Technologies. We always knew she was special." I snorted at the revisionist history but kept watching. The acquisition of Martinez Business Solutions was a strategic decision that benefited both companies. He continued, reading carefully from what I suspected was a PR-prepared statement. "We're proud to be part of the Nexus family." "And your previous stance on women in technology?" the reporter pressed. My father's face tightened. "Times change. We must change with them." Sophia muted the video. He rehearsed that for hours with Alina. Nearly had a heart attack when they asked about his previous stance. "At least he's learning," I said, returning to my reports. "How's Isabella doing with the transition?" "Loving it. Who knew she had a talent for project management? And her husband's actually good at cybersecurity. Once he got over reporting to a female supervisor." I smiled, remembering the family dinner where my brother-in-law realized his new position meant working under women at every level. The cognitive dissonance had been delicious. "Ms. Martinez." Michael appeared at the door. "Your mother's here. She says it's important." I sighed. Since the acquisition, my mother had made weekly attempts to reconcile the family, usually with guilt-laden speeches about tradition and duty. "Send her in." She entered, dressed in her Sunday best, clutching her perpetual rosary. But something was different today. She seemed nervous. "Mame." Sophia moved to help her sit. "Olivia, Hida." She twisted the rosary beads. "Your father, he's had a heart attack." The world didn't stop. I didn't feel the dramatic rush of emotions movies lead you to expect. Instead, I felt a professional calm settle over me. "Which hospital?" "San Francisco General." "Alina's with him." "The doctors. They're asking for family medical history, insurance." She wrung her hands. "We never thought." "Michael," I called. "Contact our corporate medical team. Have them coordinate with SF General. Full coverage under the employee family plan." "Already done," he replied. "And I've cleared your schedule for the afternoon." I stood, straightening my suit. "Sophia, take Mamo to the hospital. I'll be there after I handle something." "But your father will receive the best care money can buy," I finished. "Right now, I need to make sure his company doesn't fall apart while he's recovering." 3 hours later, I walked into my father's private hospital room, having restructured his entire management team and implemented emergency protocols. Alina was there, working on her laptop. Some habits die hard. "Papa's asleep," she said quietly. "The doctors say he'll recover, but he needs to reduce stress." I looked at the man in the bed, smaller somehow, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen him. His phone lay on the bedside table, still open to stock trading apps and company emails. He was reading about Nexus's stock price when it happened. Alina admitted. It's up 40% since your appointment. Has he logged into the executive dashboard I gave him? No. He says he doesn't trust computer things. I picked up his phone, quickly installing our latest business intelligence app. When he wakes up, show him how this works. He can track everything without stressing over individual numbers. Olivia. Alina hesitated. He's been trying, in his way. I know. I adjusted his IV line, remembering all the times he'd refused to understand my work. But trying isn't enough anymore. The world's changed. Ms. Martinez? A nurse poked her head in. Your teams are asking about tomorrow's merger announcement. I'll handle it, I'd assured her, then turned back to Alina. The company won't run itself. You're leaving? I've arranged for the best cardiac team in California. His insurance is covered. His company is secure. I met her eyes. What else should I do? Hold his hand and pretend the last 4 years never happened. He's still our father. Yes, and I'm still the daughter he threw away. The one who saved his life's work. I headed for the door. Call me if anything changes. I'll be in the office. The next week passed in a blur of hospital visits and business operations. My father recovered slowly, his legendary stubbornness now focused on refusing physical therapy. He won't use the recovery monitoring app. Sophia reported during our sister lunch, a new tradition I'd reluctantly agreed to. Says it's spying on him. It's monitoring his heart rate and medication schedule, I corrected, which he keeps missing. Isabella, who'd taken to tech management like a fish to water, pulled out her tablet. I simplified the interface, made it look more like his old paper schedules. Good thinking. I nodded approvingly. How's the integration team doing? Better than expected, though some of Papa's old guard are still struggling with reporting to, well, women, minorities, people under 50, all of the above. She grinned. But the new commission structure is changing minds quickly. My phone buzzed. Alina. Papa's asking for you. Says it's about the company. I found him sitting up in bed, surrounded by printouts of old reports. His face was a battlefield between pride and necessity. The Wilson account, he said without preamble. They're threatening to leave. No, they're not. I sat down, opening my tablet. They're leveraging for better terms. See these access patterns? I showed him the usage analytics. They're more integrated with our systems than ever. But their email is a negotiating tactic. I pulled up more data. They've increased platform usage by 60% since the acquisition. They're not going anywhere. He stared at the charts, decades of business instinct warring with his distrust of technology. How can you be so sure? Because I built the systems they can't work without. I met his eyes. The same systems you called a waste of time. The silence stretched between us, heavy with unspoken words. Your mother wants a family dinner, he finally said, when I'm released. I have a board meeting in Singapore next week. The week after then, he picked up his phone, the one I'd modified. This app thing, it does make tracking easier. It was as close to an apology as I was likely to get. Isabella simplified it for you. She's good with user interface design. Isabella? My Isabella? Yes, the daughter you let study art in college because women's degrees don't matter anyway. Turns out, design skills are valuable in tech. He'd absorbed this, looking around the private hospital room, paid for by the company he never believed a woman could run. When I get out, he said slowly, I'd like to learn about what you do. I stood up, straightening my suit, a power move he taught me himself, though he probably didn't realize it. Start with the basic training modules Isabella designed. If you complete those, we'll talk about advanced access. I headed for the door, then paused. And Papa? The family dinner. I'll be there. Because sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destroying your opponents, it's forcing them to evolve. The family dinner happened exactly 1 month after my father's heart attack, hosted in my penthouse apartment overlooking the bay. It was the first time my entire family had been together since the day they burned my diploma. My mother tried to cook, but I had already arranged catering from a Michelin-starred restaurant, another small reminder of how things had changed. This view, Isabella whispered, pressing her hand against the floor-to-ceiling windows. It's incredible. You should see it from the office. I replied, top floor of Nexus Tower. My father sat quietly at the head of the table, a position I had deliberately given him. Some battles weren't worth fighting. He had completed the basic training modules, though his pride still struggled with taking instruction from his daughters. The merger announcement is tomorrow, Alina mentioned, trying to bridge the awkward silence. Papa's team is fully integrated now. Most of them, I corrected. Some chose early retirement rather than adapt. Their choice. My mother crossed herself, probably praying for my soul. Must we discuss business at dinner? Why not? Sophia challenged. Business is what brought us back together. Success, my father spoke suddenly. Success brought us back together. He looked at me. Your success. The room fell silent. This was the closest he had ever come to acknowledging what he had done, what I had achieved. The new subsidiary is performing well, I said professionally. Isabella's team has modernized all major systems. Client retention is up 85%. And the security breaches? He asked. None since implementation. Your son-in-law runs a tight ship. He nodded, processing this. The board, they trust you completely now. They trusted me before. Now they know why. I sipped my wine. Our stock price has doubled since the acquisition. I know. He touched his phone, the one running our apps. I check it every day. My mother wiped her eyes with her napkin. Can we not just be family tonight, without numbers and business? This is us being family, Mama, Isabella said. A modern family, a successful family, a family run by women, Sophia added with a slight smirk. My father surprised us all by chuckling. Yes. Well, perhaps that's how it should have been all along. Later, as the family prepared to leave, he lingered behind. From his jacket, he pulled a frame, my MIT diploma, professionally restored. The museum sent it back, he said. Said it belongs in your office. I took it, feeling the weight of everything it represented. I have a new one. The university reissued it. Keep this one, he insisted, to remember. Remember what? The day you burned it? The day I was wrong. He straightened his shoulders. The day I almost destroyed the best thing our family ever produced. I hung the restored diploma in my home office, next to the Forbes cover and the CEO announcement. Not as a reminder of what was lost, but of what was gained. Not just success, but the satisfaction of earning respect that was once denied. Because sometimes the greatest victory isn't in proving others wrong, but in giving them the chance to admit it themselves. The next morning, I walked into Nexus Tower as I always did, early, focused, ready to lead. But now, somewhere in the city, my father was logging into his modernized systems, my sisters were running their departments, and a new generation of Latina girls was looking at my story and thinking, if she did it, I can too. And that, more than any revenge, was worth every flame that tried to destroy my dreams.